Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a really big idea, Atmanirbhar Bharat, or a self-reliant India. You know, it's one thing to have a great slogan, but it's another thing entirely to turn it into a national mission that actually works. So, how do you do it? Let's get into it.
So where do we start? Well, this story actually begins not with some grand plan, but with a shock. We're going to kick things off by looking at the core challenge that makes this whole idea of self-reliance feel less like a choice and more like a necessity.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it with a big question. The source material puts it pretty bluntly. Are we just going to be dependent on other countries forever, or can we build the muscle to actually stand on our own 2 feet?
To really get what's at stake here, just try to picture this scenario. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and boom, a 50% tax gets slapped on more than half of everything India sells to the US. I mean, just think about the domino effect on jobs, on businesses, on the whole economy.
Yeah, 50%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's not just some number on a slide. It's a huge jolt to the system, a massive economic shockwave.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The source asks us to imagine this isn't just a random hypothetical. It paints a picture for 2025 where a tax just like that hits almost $87 billion worth of Indian products. It's a serious stress test.
And you think, okay, that's a knockout blow, right? The challenge would be immense, no doubt, especially for the export sector. But here's the really surprising part from the analysis. Even with that massive hit, the projections showed India's economy wouldn't just scrape by. It would still grow, and at a pretty healthy 6.4%.
So, how? How is that even possible? That kind of resilience doesn't just come from nowhere. And to understand it, we've got to dig into what the source calls India's foundational strength. And the answer, well, it really starts right here. Take a look at this. A whopping 65% of India's population lives in rural areas. Now that's more than just a statistic, it's the very foundation of our economy. It means almost half our workforce is tied to agriculture.
And this isn't just about people, it's about pure raw production. I mean, just look at these numbers from 2022. We're not talking small figures here. We're talking hundreds of millions of tons of grain, fruits, vegetables, and milk. This is the engine that keeps the country fed, right from our own backyard.
Okay, but the story doesn't end in the fields. Not even close. The source is super clear on this. India's strength in the 21st century isn't just about agriculture. It's also being forged in the digital world with lines of code.
And you want to see the proof? Here it is. Over 100,000 active startups in India right now. That's not just growth, that's an explosion of innovation, of new ideas, of people building the future.
And who's behind all this? It's the young people. As this quote from the source points out, we're seeing a generation that isn't just using tech, they're building it, creating apps and products made right here in India, for India, and for the rest of the world.
And this isn't just wishful thinking. It's backed by some seriously ambitious national goals. We're talking a target of 3 lakh crore rupees. That's 3 trillion rupees in domestic defense manufacturing alone by 2029. That's a huge statement about becoming self-reliant in some of the most critical areas.
Okay, so we've got the muscle, we've got the brains, we've got the ambition. But how do you actually make it all work? Well, this next section shows us that this isn't just some top-down government plan. It's already happening, from the ground up. The answer, it turns out, is surprisingly simple, but incredibly powerful. People working together. In villages like Raleigh City, they've shown that when there's a collective effort, pretty much anything is possible.
And this isn't just theory, right? It's a real-world blueprint that works. Step 1, they figured out their water situation through community management. Step 2, with water secure, they could boost their farming. And what happens next? Step 3, local jobs start to pop up. It's a beautiful, virtuous cycle.
So what's the bottom line? What did all this achieve? Well, get this. Average incomes in these villages didn't just go up a little. They doubled. Some even tripled. That is life-changing, tangible empowerment, built from within.
All right, let's bring this all home. This final part is really about what all of this means for the future, and for us.
As the source material suggests, it's about understanding that the future really is in our hands.
So when we talk about Atner Barbara today, what are we really talking about? It's about this: building our own Google, our own world-class apps, our own technology. It's a future where Indian data is protected and Indian problems are solved with Indian solutions. It's a shift from being a back office to being the headquarters. So how can you or I be a part of this mission? The source actually boils it down to 3 simple, powerful actions. First, really championing local products, being vocal for local. Second, taking inspiration from the incredible success stories of these self-reliant villages. And third, pushing ourselves and our country to be true leaders in tech and innovation.
And that brings us to the final thought from the source, and it's a powerful one. It says, Ab waqt hai, soch badlo, bharat badlo, aao atmanirbhar banen, which basically means, now is the time. Change your thinking, change India, let's become self-reliant. It's both a challenge and an invitation, and it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. How will we answer that call?